Okay. Apparently my phone wasn't fully plugged in, so it was telling me it was dying. Um, Talking about surface surface level connections. Um, people that are open with that, have that openness and that depth to them. I want you to know that I'm not making any sweeping claim about. I'm not trying. I'm not intending to make any sweeping claim about people of depth. I'm working very hard to make use of the word I instead of general, you or they or any of that stuff. Because the truth is that I only know what I know. I can't say that it applies to anyone else. Only you can. There's something that you find useful or truthful or valuable. That's like it's all you. Um, so, in revealing some of my own depths, uh, it would be unfair to say that, and it would be untrue to say, more importantly, that that people aren't intrigued by it and are typically genuinely interested in exploring their own depths. And I highly recommend and encourage that. It can be difficult for me sometimes, having exposed some of the things that I have beyond the surface, and still peeling away my own layers, and still dealing with the ramifications and consequences of revealing that depth. Not to say that there have been any consequences outside of myself. They are all internal. And I think that is a motivating factor to keep things surface level for a great many people. Now, I am not one of those people that desires that surface level connection at all. I'm not. This is one of the things that in learning how to let go of things, I've had to let go of letting go, because, and think about that, let go of letting go, we're human beings, we're going to have fear, jealousy, anger, all these emotions. And no matter how much I've tried to let some things go, they come back. So I'm trying to focus on letting go of that, because clearly, in my mind, there are certain things that are just there. They're part of human existence. They're part of my existence. For instance, the surface level stuff I do not like. I want to have, and like I said, besides the things that I don't like, I used the example of the motorcycle club. I don't want to go past the surface. I'm okay with just observing the surface. But in most cases, that's not the case. That's not what I'm not a surface guy. When I was a kid, people used to say, "Man, you're deep." So, yeah, I guess so. I guess I'm deep. I mean, I guess so. I'm not. I'm not really all that interested in these surface level things. Really good. I should link the video. I should link the video to the essay, the audiobook essay that I'm referring to, because wow, there was it really drove home the idea, which I've been told before, is that you know there's so much that we've already learned but we've forgotten, lost wisdom. Thoreau talks about so many things that are so applicable right now. He wrote about these things in the mid 1850s, and just mind blowing, because you read it or you listen to it and you realize, yeah, same shit, same exact shit. I don't have much of the desire for surface or superficial contact in almost any form. In the news, I can't stand. Social media is becoming way more difficult than it ever used to be. Hell, media in general is just like, ugh. Like, I can't. It's so distracting from, to me, it's distracting me from what I am trying to reveal, which is some kind of truth that I can live with, some kind of living understanding of life that I can live with. And when you meet someone, or you know someone with that depth that is willing to just immediately open up, and that surface is just think, oh, well, okay, get rid of the surface, let's go. Go as deep as you want to go. In conversation or art, music, concepts, whatever. I think that it is poignant to point out that regardless of how comfortable a person may seem to be with talking about these issues of depth, that usually, I say this from my own research and reading, so whatever that counts for, usually, in my experience, the people that have written or spoken words that have revealed some depth about themselves, which in turn allowed me to reflect on my own depth. These people usually have had some kind of, if not more than one, if not more than a bunch of really unique how would I put it? these experiences in their life that have caused them to deeply question who they are, why they do what they do, why others have done what they've done. So that they can understand for themselves. It's not for anybody else, really. When you do understand, it tends to attract people who are looking for that depth. And so, as a result, when I communicate and have communicated those abscesses of my life, my experiences, others see an opportunity to find something in there for themselves. And I'm more than happy to contribute to that, because God knows if I didn't have access or didn't expose myself to those types of people myself, I wouldn't have help. Honest to goodness, I wouldn't be here. So, though that may be the case, I feel it is important to say that those people who, just like those that I found, those opportunities for growth in their words and their experiences, suffered a great deal. And in some cases also continued to suffer until they died. Well, okay. What am I trying to say there? Well, I'm not trying to say don't reach out. I'm not trying to say feel guilty or feel bad, like so many people do when they are talking about a friend or even a person that they greatly admire, that they may put up some sort of a image of above their fireplace or their bed, or have a necklace with this person on it to remind them of how sorry they should feel for that person's suffering. But the truth that I recognize is that everyone suffers. And I've known that for a long time. I used to say this as a sort of a comforting thing to myself, because, well, I made this, this is an old, not analogy, this is an old, idea that I used to present to people, and therapists, and, those people who thought, well, my suffering is worse than your suffering. I was about to say better than. That's really the idea there. My suffering's better than yours because I suffer more. But the idea that, someone's suffering is worse than someone else's. And this is, gosh, I'm trying to remember when I actually first thought of this. It was a long time ago. I used to think, and I've rediscovered that through going beyond the surface myself. So the idea is, you can have a person who has experienced what I'm finding it hard sometimes to communicate certain concepts in a sort of introductory way. So you got someone who is depressed. And there's no way you can understand their depression because you haven't lived what they've lived through. Now to you, let's say this so this person is someone who is depressed that they couldn't make their car payment and their son made a C on their paper and they're not going to get to go on vacation this year. But this person is seriously fucking depressed. And I make no qualms. This is a serious depression. This person is depressed. Very depressed. I mean, is maybe thinking about ending their life. Understand that depression is exactly, and that suffering is exactly the same as the person who was molested as a child, who was separated from their family or beaten by their relatives or nearly drowned or was in a car accident or any number of severely traumatic events. This person and this person, same exact thing, suffering, depression, or suffering. The feeling is the same. It's the exact same feeling. You can argue with me all you want. I'm not backing down from this. I've had a lot of years to think about this. And maybe, who knows, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm still not going to back down from this idea. It is totally subjective. Totally subjective. If your standard of happiness or versus depression is at a certain awareness, you have a certain awareness of your happiness and your depression, and it has been at this sort of like even level, and then all of a sudden it goes boom, you can't go on vacation, your son made a C, and I forget the other thing, whatever, they stopped carrying the what's that? Matcha. They stopped carrying matcha chocolate, all right, at the grocery store. Oh my God, horrible. I love that matcha chocolate. So you've had this sort of, baseline that you've been sort of comparing or thinking is there some sort of comparison to happiness, and all of a sudden, boom, depressed. And this other person who's had all these other severe traumas has been sort of like boom, 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 boom. But you see, on a what I would call sort of like a sort of like a measurement of normal, right? So what is normal? And no one can define that. It's relative. It is the relative disappointment, despair, trauma, sadness, depression, is comparable to the other. The suffering is suffering. That's all it is. So now to the big point of the whole damn video is that this person, surface to surface, back to Thoreau, surface to surface, the people that tend to be attracted to those that are willing to go deeper. This is something that relates to my friend that passed, because there were so many people that he was able to help. Yet, in some very fundamental ways, it got to a point to where it wasn't necessarily that he wasn't willing to try to help himself, but it didn't seem, this is horrible to say, didn't seem like many people cared that he did. Because there's the depth that they're looking for. Taking is, and believe me, this person who's revealing that depth wants nothing more than for you to get some kind of healing or something out of it. Feel love or, compassion. But after a certain period of time, it almost seems that it doesn't matter about the fact that the depths that you've revealed have also sort of, in some ways, made me realize how insignificant my suffering is. How totally and utterly insignificant it is. And so any hope of recovery or help or empathy is just gone. It is almost as if the depth that you reveal in yourself when realized through others, that it reveals and helps them that your suffering does not matter. And so that's what I want you to think about. That's what I have been thinking about. And I've been thinking and reading and trying to dig through the trash heap in my mind to find some compassion for myself. And I've had that, and I have that for a lot of people. I haven't always had that. It's something that I've had to learn. But in developing it, I've realized how totally insignificant my suffering is. And that it really doesn't seem to benefit me to ask for anything.